Hello, Alphas. She's back. Today I'm doing something weird. I'm filming during the day, and I guess I should introduce myself in case you're new here. My name is Barry, and this is technically my K-pop reaction channel where I'm branching out beyond my typical groups, which is mainly BTS, Blackpink, TXT, Twice, IVE, Stray Kids. If I forgot anyone, that's embarrassing. However, the XG rabbit hole has been inviting, and I am enjoying going down it thanks to all of you lovely alphas and your engagement and your commentary and your appreciation. Like, it sounds cheesy when I'm responding to your comments, but I truly, truly appreciate it because I'm someone who is not palatable to a lot of people. I think a lot of people like to admire me from afar, but when it comes down to like real conversation and it comes down to the things that I actually geek out over, I have a hard time making friends. When I was younger, I didn't have that hard time. But as I've become more of an individual and become more authentic and unapologetically myself, it's become harder. And I know this is just a symptom, a byproduct of individuality. So I really appreciate you guys being so embracing of my perspectives and my blabbery. And even if I get some things wrong or if I'm not certain about stuff, you very politely, kindly, and informatively fill me in. So I truly, truly appreciate it. I think yesterday I just reached 400 subscribers, which is crazy for such a new channel. And I already feel like there's a community forming, and I love that. Speaking of communities, if you haven't seen, I did react to Winter Without You. However, YouTube blocked it. So I did what I said I was not ready to do, and I started a Patreon. The video is completely free. Anything that's just blocked by YouTube, I will keep free on there. There's no paywall, so feel free to go check that out. Have a gander, if you will. Um, so yeah, I don't think there's anything else in terms of housekeeping. So that being said, we are going to watch Howling today. I know nothing about what I'm going into as usual. I'm just looking forward to it. As per usual, I trust your guys' recommendations, and you haven't steered me wrong so far. And I think the more real aspect of that is that when it comes to XG, there is no wrong. You know, I think that's really the root of what I'm getting at here. So let us jump in. I have nothing further, and I'm ready. Is that an actual functioning QR code? Okay, this upright bass and what is that, a hi-hat? That's sick.
First we rockin', that's how we roll.
Yes.
Lock is hot cause it's stick that don't. Tough as diamonds, no sticks and stones.
That's connected like tic-tac-toe.
Lights go out and my pack just grow. Opposition, my primo foes. Game of hunger, bring that smoke.
You don't want no smoke.
Thanks out, attack on three, that's a man down. I've been throwing these balls like a handout. Too many captain, I be losing head count. Sit a red dot. I like to cook so I hump on my dinner. My appetite only get bigger and bigger. If I too wolf, then it must be a thriller. Woke up and blessed, so I must be a killer.
Okay. Before we get into the pre-chorus, and I'm assuming the chorus after that, but with them, you never know. Where are we? 47 seconds in. I already have a lot to say. First of all, this bar, what was it? I like to cook so I hunt for my dinner. I don't remember what she said exactly right after that, but I love that. I'm obsessed with that bar. We love a self-sufficient human being. That's I love that. I don't know. I don't really have anything eloquent to say besides that I love that line. That's very cool. Visually, obviously, we're getting some alignment with the visuals in Woke Up. I don't know which one came first. I didn't look. I just went into this because I'm just excited and I didn't do my due diligence. But yeah, the fangs, even the reference to the fang in the lyrics. What did she say? Throwing paws or whatever? Well, I think Harvey's line. I love that. That's hilarious. I love that so far in all of their songs, you get these like tongue-in-cheek lyrics that are just they tickle me. They tickle my fancy. They tickle me. They tickle my loins. um, and yeah, I'm already loving it. And again, these visuals are crazy. I don't have my phone next to me, but I kind of want to know about the QR code because that's pretty cool. If it works, even if it doesn't. So yeah, I think I'm now looking at a floating mermaid butterfly. So that's exciting. Also, briefly about the song itself, the production. As I said, this upright bass with the Please, I don't play drums, but I think that's a hi-hat. I'm trying to understand the construction of a drum kit. I should know these things as a producer, but I'm learning, okay? Um, Love that. It's the base of a jazz song. So I'm curious for those of you who are like even deeper music heads who are into theory, is this song like even in like a jazz, are these in jazz scales? Because that would be really, really cool too. So yeah, let's continue. Little Vitruvian Man energy. Okay, Mononoke, I see you. Oh! Love that. That's sick. She is a floating mermaid butterfly. Guys, that is a direct Princess Mononoke reference. The feet walking thing, that's literally from the movie. I already said that specific costume looks like San is her name in the film, the actual character. That looks like her uniform, if you will. But that specific shot of the feet walking and the plants growing around it, that is a direct Princess Mononoke, almost frame for frame reference. So I'm not surprised. Obviously, they're Japanese. If I were Japanese, I would make an altar to Miyazaki because he's one of the best humans I think that's ever lived personally. I love Princess Mononoke so much that my whole forearm is dedicated to the film. You can't really see it very well, but this is a tattoo of Lady Eboshi. And if you've never seen the film, Lady Eboshi is a very controversial, duality full, which is not the word, character. She's literally a warlord, but she's also an iconic philanthropist at the same time. And that's why I chose to get her actually instead of Princess Mononoke, instead of San, because she just represents such duality, depth, nuance. She's one of the best written characters by Miyazaki because she represents literally both life and death. It goes back to the frame that I'm literally pausing to discuss right now. Because in the film, it's a little different here, but in the film, it's he's a forest god. I don't remember what his actual title is in Japanese. But he walks through the forest and you watch everywhere his feet touch the ground. Flowers bloom, grass blooms, and immediately dies. And so it's this idea that life and death are two sides of the same coin. And for me, I'll save it till the end, but I really love to talk about death. And what I'm getting at though is that the character, Lady Eboshi, and even San herself, they're also extensions of that idea. This duality of life and death essentially being one and the same, and that we are all capable of either giving life or living life. Whether, if you have a uterus, you can give it. If you don't, then you live it. And then on the flip side of that, we're all capable of imposing death upon ourselves, upon other people, and we all die. So I think it's all part of the same sphere. And I think, interestingly, the video is kind of touching on that idea. Lyrically, I'm not getting that, but that's fine. Maybe we'll see as we continue. Moonwalk Queen. Nat Geo. Look at all the dead people under her. Yes, touchdown. You unleash the beast, call it Wolfgang, cause we back to feast. Yes. Firsthand, a new type of breed, never sees, I got mouths to feed. Listen to hear the howling, sound of a couple thousand albums, now the fear surrounded. I move with silence, group like a group of wild, there's no choice but the truth. Oh, that verse. It's close to midnight and the night skies come hunting down. Had a vibrato. Dangerous if you anger us, could be dangerous. So run if you hear the sound, that's how we wow. Oh, I got goosebumps this part. That's how we howling, growling, wildin'. That's how we howling, growling, wildin'. Where are you now? Oh, Haku, that you? Where the strongest won't survive. Too late to run away, you better kneel and pray. We're howling in the dark. Yes. Cool harmony there. That's how we howling, Yes, I love this choreo too.
That's how we howling, growling. Where are
Yes.
you now?
Ow. Again, death, giving birth to something. There's immediate life and blooming right from that. What planet is that? How do I get there? And how do we ban Elon Musk from colonizing it? Oh my lord. Okay. Um. Wow. I did briefly look at the lyrics in between. Um. Not too much I need to unpack there, but there are some cool bars that I really really like. Obviously, the overall, or maybe not obviously, but the overall gist is like kind of self-preservation of the tribe, right? They're very tribal lyrics of like, I am the beast, not a beast, I am the beast. Have you heard? This idea of just being fierce, but not even like in the stereotypical that's Ferris kind of way, but like literally in a very guttural, animalistic way. Um, and protecting your kin. Don't talk down to my kin. Um, and just this idea of fending for oneself, taking care of yourself and your immediate tribe. I don't think there's too much that I'm missing. Obviously, there's some really cool bars in there. I don't know. I can't get over that I like to eat, so I hunt for myself, whatever the exact wording was. I know there was a lot of other ones after that, but I really, really liked that one. Um, And yeah, so again, the composition of the song, super, super cool. There was one moment in there where the track itself, I don't think it changed, but it almost sounded like a key change. But really, it was just that the melody changed key, but the track stayed the same, which I don't think, I'm sure that there's other examples in music where that happens. But that's so cool because for me, something that I struggle with as a songwriter is not sticking in the keys that I love because I notice I'm very attracted to A minor. I have multiple songs in the key of A minor and I just love that key. I have very few songs that are in major keys in general. So I'm very intrigued when people play with things like keys and chord progressions and scales. As I questioned in the beginning, it has this jazz undertone, but then as the production builds, as the song goes through, you're getting these other elements of more typical pop. I'm not saying the song is typical pop, but the actual elements of production are pop. But then also in the very beginning, right after this jazz portion, you have this guitar or whatever the progression is. That I fucking love too, because based on what I'm just saying right now, that's like four different genres that are coming through in one song, and yet nothing sounds out of place. Further, this melody, this song has a more traditional song structure than Woke Up did. I would say so far out of the ones that I've reacted to, this one's like second or third place. I think this and Gala have typically more traditional song structures. I can identify the verses, the hook, pre chorus, whatever, bridge. But this song, it follows a more traditional structure, but the melody doesn't. So it still feels fresh, and I'm still surprised by stuff, which is super super cool. Um, this fucking chorus, this hook of the actual howling sound is so pleasing to the ear. It gave me goosebumps. And a lot of those cadences, I don't remember if it was in the pre-chorus or even in the verses, maybe. Really cool, unpredictable cadences. So again, super refreshing song. I liked this song more than I was. Not that I had an expectation, but I really, really like this. Further about the visual, I think there's this again a depiction of life and death and kind of presence, but also dissociation. Because that moment where the QR code mask vanished, like it exploded almost into flowers. that also is kind of a metaphor for like we're so tapped in, we're so not present a lot of the times, myself included, with our doom scrolling and our QR universe, if you will. And then someone comes along and maybe smacks you in the face, and you go and you are able to touch grass once again. And I think that is again a version of transitioning from like zombie energy into something that is alive, something that's flourishing, literally blooming from your mind. It's sad to say, but like so many people are just missing out on life because of technology. And that's very cliche, high horse kind of thing to say. But what I more so mean is that so many people don't even have the chance to discover their creativity, discover the quirky and weird and maybe uncomfortable places that their minds go. And I feel like just that one shot of the QR code exploding into like blooming really represents that for me. I'm not saying that's what they were trying to show, but that's how I read it and what resonated for me. Um, Also, going back to this idea of life and death, right? I already said it's kind of maybe more so multiple sides of one dice, if you will. Um, but I love death, and I said I was going to talk about that briefly. I'm a very macabre lady. I just feel like death is so interesting in the sense that like especially in western cultures we're so averse to it. Everything we do is fundamentally to avoid death, to avoid the feelings that come from it when we witness it, the to avoid it happening to us. And I feel like in many, not just eastern cultures, but a lot of the rest of the world besides America, but the rest of the world has a much more nuanced, complex, frankly cool relationship to death. And I think that is something we could all embrace. I've been surrounded by quite a bit of death in my life, and yet still, I think it's one of the coolest things ever to talk about, to witness. When I was living in Europe, I've been to most of the major landmarks relating to just like literal dead bodies, which sounds. Oh, just hold on for a second. The catacombs of Paris. One of my favorite places in San Francisco, my hometown, is the cemetery in the Presidio. When I lived in London, I used to go to the Hampstead Cemetery, Highgate Cemetery. Also in Paris, I would go to Père Lachaise and the Montmartre Cemetery. In Sicily, somewhere, I can't remember where it is, there's just like this crazy open catacomb where there's just like bodies stacked against the wall, and it was just you can't take pictures in there, but it's not a popular attraction. And also, there's an above ground cemetery in Napoli that I've been to as well, Naples, where there's just skulls sitting out. And I'm not gonna, and sorry, one more, the famous Bone Church in the Czech Republic. I'm fascinated with death. I think it's a beautiful thing to depict artistically, and this was a really cool way to do it. And then drawing in the references to Studio Ghibli or Ghibli, depending on how you want to pronounce it. I know the jury's out. Undeniable at this point. You're not going to convince me that that's not what they were referring to. Obviously, the uniform, as I mentioned, of San, of Princess Mononoke herself, and that frame, the walking of the forest spirit. So yeah, that was super cool. And the imagery also of her being like a butterfly mermaid or whatever the fuck that was about. Again, we look at what butterflies represent and this idea of altering your identity and of rebirth. And I guess again, I'm not fully seeing the correlation with the lyrics, but I'm not mad at that. I don't really care. I think the lyrics and the video separately are super, super cool. And I think that's what's interesting about this is like Gala, I would say, was much more literal to what the lyrics were in terms of melding the visuals and the lyrics. But even Woke Up, again, not a typical depiction of like flexing about how cool and how hot you are. Most times, a video about being a hot girl or a boss bitch or whatever would just be like, "Ooh, she's on her phone, she's busy. Ooh, now she's twerking. Ooh, the gender roles are reversed, and now there's men doing stuff in videos that women would do." Like it's always very typical. So even in that, they really kind of throw something different at you that you're not expecting visually that doesn't always match the song in the best way possible. So yeah, I think I may do a separate video and do the dance practice and the live performance together in one because I think I've blabbed enough for today, and also my computer is dying. So stay tuned for that. It might not be the next thing, but I do really like this song, so it'll be coming soon. That being said, I hope I've covered everything, and I really appreciate you again, Alphas. You've been excellent, and I hope to see you in the next video. And even if you maybe aren't a fan of some of the other groups that I'm covering, but you like my perspective on things, I would urge you to maybe go check it out. Put it on in the background, do your dishes, I don't know, whatever works. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I appreciate y'all, and good morrow, cousins.